only 7:20. Call the meeting to order. It has been a while. My friend? Good evening. I'm going to call the Thursday, January 17th meeting of the Ordinance and Intergovernmental Relations Subcommittee to order. Members present are myself, Eileen Burnell, Vice Chair Kendras Vasquez, and voting member and Council President Frank Moran. Also with us this evening is Councilor Mark LaPlante, who's non-voting member. Could I please get a motion to approve the minutes of the December 6th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
I wanted to take the reports from Officer Scanlon first, if possible. Someone please make a motion to take document number 197-12 off the table and out of order.
Move.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Officer,
Good evening, councilors.
state your name for the record.
Sorry?
Your name for the record.
Sure. Eugene Scanlon, Lawrence Police Department.
Thank you.
In reference to document 197, this is a request for resident sticker parking on Garden Street between Jackson and Newbury. Something kind of been looking into for a couple of months. Councilor Reyes has been working with the residents. She had a signed petition by the residents, and there was overwhelming support for the resident sticker parking. And the reason why they're asking for it is since the paid parking has gone into place around Haverhill Street, Jackson Street, Common Street. People are looking for these outlying streets to park for free. And this particular area, people that live there can't park in front of their own homes. Most of the residents don't have driveways. They rely on the street for parking. And a couple of people have made mention that they have to sometimes park a couple of blocks away in order to get home to their own house. And there's a couple of other factors that came into play. There's a school at the corner of Jackson and Garden Street, the Esperanza Academy. Across the street, there's the Point After Club. So sitting down and trying to come up with a common ground for everybody between the residents and these two affected businesses in the school. So what I did was I talked to the school, explained the situation, and they voiced their concerns with their parking issues. And I worked with the DPW director. I talked to them today more than once. We offered them a solution to their parking issues, and that's something that's still in the works with them. I did make them aware that I'm recommending the resident sticker parking, and so they told me that they were going to work out their parking situation as far as what their needs are with the DPW. As far as the building goes, in front of their building, they do have about 60 feet of parking in front of their building. And going out there, I've done some observations. And the one thing you see is when the kids are getting dropped off, cars are parking, they're stopping in the middle of the street, kids are getting out, they're going into the school. Traffic's getting a little jammed over there, people can't pass. It's not really a safe environment. Garden Street's also kind of a main thoroughway for the Lawrence General for an ambulance. So these cars, sometimes they'll be 4 or 5 deep, will be dropping kids off, and traffic is getting congested in that area. So what I recommended was to do a drop-off and pickup zone. Do one on the south side of the street, which is in front of the school, and offering one also to the Point After Club. The Point After Club, I talked to the assistant director today, Charlotte Hawami, and she was in great favor of it. She thinks it's a great idea. She's in favor of the resident sticker parking. She said it doesn't affect them. She was actually happy to have the drop-off and pickup zone. At the school, I talked to the principal.
Which
And
school
I
is
talked,
that? I'm sorry.
it's called the Esperanza
Oh,
Academy.
Esperanza. Sure.
I talked to Chris Wilson, and I also talked to the principal, Sandy Piltz. And I also brought up the drop-off and pickup zone for them. They were in favor of it as well. Mr. Wilson thinks it's a great idea. He thinks it's a safer way for the kids to obviously get in and out of the school, safer for the buses to pull up on the side of the curb, and the kids to get off safely. So what I'm recommending is, after all this is said and done, recommending to have the resident sticker parking, to have a drop-off and pickup zone, the first one on the south side of Garden Street, from the southeast corner of Garden and Jackson to a point 40 feet, and from the southeast corner of Garden and Jackson Street to a point 100 feet. That puts the drop-off and pickup zone directly in front of the school. The reason why I went 40 feet in is the fire hydrant there. So coming 20 feet off the corner, I had to come off further for the fire hydrant, make sure that doesn't get blocked. So that's the reason why it's 40 feet off that corner. On the north side, in front of the Point After Club, it'll be 20 feet from the corner of Garden and Jackson Street, from the northeast corner to a point 20 feet, and then from the northeast corner of Garden and Jackson to a point 100 feet on there. So there'll be a drop-off and pickup zone pretty much parallel to each other. And then from the end of that drop-off and pickup zone to Newbury Street, that'll be all resident sticker parking. I mean, I think that's like the best resolve. I think it's, it's safe for the kids, and I think the overall resolution we came up, they'll just work out the parking issues with the school, which, I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal. And I think it should keep everybody pretty happy in this neighborhood.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing all that research and talking to all those abutters. It's very, very helpful. One question I just have when I hear drop-off and pickup zone, especially in a densely populated area like Garden Street, on a Saturday or Sunday, are those drop-off and pickup during school hours only? Is that it, or?
Well, I was going to keep, because I know they do have some programs there on the weekends.
Oh, especially Point Afterward, too.
Sundays, no, probably not, but I know they do some programs on Saturdays.
So Monday through Saturday, or all the time?
I was just trying to keep it all the time.
Sure,
And then
sure.
if, we could always modify it in the future.
Okay.
If it does create a kind of a problem, but I mean, realistically, it's only a couple of spots, maybe 3. Like the Point After Club maybe have 3, and due to the hydrant, there's probably a couple, like that would be actual spots that people could utilize after hours. I try to stay away from the time constraints, because people get confused and they forget to move their cars, and,
No, that's true.
and then when you obviously got to start enforcing an ordinance, people don't like getting their cars tagged, they don't like getting towed. But if in the future, if, people do bring up issues, I think we can definitely resolve, work on that.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. Does anyone have any questions for the officer while he's here?
Excuse me.
No, I'm surprised that he didn't get any more complaints from the workers from the school. Did you get any complaint from them at all?
No.
No?
I mean, they were a little shocked at the idea at first that, parking's not gonna be right in front of their building. But once we offered, the possible resolution, I mean, they haven't accepted
Because
it yet.
even though there's a school there, they're still in the neighborhood. They're still paying taxes. They still pay rent for the city. They still pay city taxes. And they want to provide parking space for the people that they employ, whether it's 10, 5, or whatever it is. But they still are in the neighborhood. They still pay city taxes. So they're entitled to parking space as well, just as the residents. I'm not sure how many parking spaces they were taking up, if they were 5, 10, 12, or 15. I'm not really sure how many, but that was my only worry, is that even though it's a school, they're still in the neighborhood, still pay taxes. So that's the way I look at it. But Madam Chair, I think it's a great idea. Somehow we're going to have to find a way of providing parking space for these people. Not provide them, but probably get together with DPW department, see if we come up with an agreement of probably renting some parking spaces to them. At a premium, not sure how much money. Can I ask you a question? Can I ask the,
Sure, yeah.
For you, Madam Chair, can I speak to
Yeah,
DPW,
sure.
DPW Director?
Thank you.
Do we work out any deals with schools like this or business like this?
Yeah, we do. Northern Essex, for one, pays a substantial amount to the city for parking in the parking lots and garages, well over $100,000. We've offered these same accommodations to Esperanza in the past. They, blocked at that time as well. It should be noted that that building is probably one of the only schools that doesn't have parking available. They don't have a parking lot. It's a building and nothing else. There's a little alley there that they use to contain their dumpster, but there's clearly access to that back lot that the city owns through that alley, and they had proposed, actually, we had got to the, right down to the nitty-gritty of we were going to line up a drop-off area in that lot for them. Some years back, they never followed through on it, and we'd be happy to have them as parking residents, parking tenants.
Do you mind if I give them your number so they can call you?
And by all
Because I know
means.
we're gonna get phone calls.
We generally offer
It's a
folks
given.
like that, yeah, we generally offer folks like that who are gonna come in here with 20 or 30 cars, a discounted rate. Normally, we get 55 a month for a surface lot. We drop it down depending on the amount of pieces you want to bring in.
Thank you. And one of the things we want to do, we want to attract businesses into the city of Lawrence. We don't want to, scare away businesses.
We're extremely reasonable on the cost.
Thank you. I think it's a great idea. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to send it up to the full council with a favorable recommendation and to the city attorney to draft a proper language.
Motion has been made. Seconded by Council Vasquez. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you.
Just have one more quick thing, if I could, on this. I did give Mr. Wilson, Mr. Isense's information after I left here. I went over there, I gave him the contact number. He did say he'd contact him. And I told him as far as, working out the fine points of it, it would be obviously Mr. Isense that would handle that. So he did say he'd call, so,
Excellent. Good job.
just so you know.
That's good. Thank you.
Could I please get a motion to take document number 323-12 off the table and out of order?
Second?
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 323-12 is with regard to parking on South Union Street between 169 and 190. And Officer, if it's easier for you, we can take the other document, 324, just take those two items as a block. Does that work?
Sure.
Can I motion to take, actually, 323 and, 323, yeah, thank you. Motion's
block?
made, seconded.
Excuse me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay, in reference to 323 and 324, this was parking, basically, this is a parking, restrictions between Abbott and Farnham Street on South Union. Document 323 covers the west side, 324 covers the east side. And I went through this block, and there's several businesses there. There's absolutely no parking restrictions. There's no signs, there's no time limits. And for the businesses are having a problem with long-term parking for people in that area, and as a result of the long-term parking, their customers can't get into their businesses. So what their request was to ask the businesses that are in this block, that were asking for 30-minute parking in this area between the hours of 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. So for my recommendation is to, for the east and west side of this street between Abbott and Farnham Street on South Union, is to add the 30-minute parking from the hours of 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on both sides.
Great. Do you have any questions for the officer?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'd like to send this item up to both of these items up to the full council with a favorable recommendation to order a public hearing and to the city attorney to draft the proper language. Now make that in form of a motion.
I got a motion's been made. Seconded. For purposes of discussion, I know the council from the district is here. Council?
Great. No, I had a chance to go over, and thank you for the officer for doing that. And I've talked to all the business owners on both sides. There is a serious differences of opinion, however, on the, on that parking. As you can imagine, the barber shop, the hairdresser, they want to have longer than a half an hour. If you're owning something like the laundromat or another, like one of the bodegas, you'll want a shorter time there so people can come in and come out. So there's a real, in that block on both sides, there's a real difference of opinion as to whether or not the, the businesses want a shorter time limit or a longer time limit. So I don't think there's any way we're going to make anybody happy on this. If we're going to go with a shorter time limit, you're going to upset the folks whose clients and customers stay there for longer than a half an hour. And if you have those places utilized for a long time, then you're reducing the amount of business that could be going into some of the quicker customer-based businesses. So what I'm going to do is alert those businesses again in that area of what the ordinance committee is doing and recommending, and give them a chance to come to the full council and express their views on whether or not a half hour is a good thing. And maybe there's a compromise. Maybe on one side of the street it's an hour, hour and a half. Maybe on the other side it's a half hour. Maybe there's a way that we can try to find some sort of middle ground that at least understands the nature of some of these businesses. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Great. Okay, thank you. I think it's a great idea to encourage the abutters to attend that public hearing. I've got a motion.
Yeah, I made a motion, Madam Chair. I think it's a great idea what Councilor LaPlante said. One of the things I did, I walked there myself and I met with 3 of the owners. I actually walked up and down the street. I got a phone call from one of the furniture, the person that owns the furniture place right next to the laundromat. I mean, I know it's not my district, but I'm an at-large counselor, and I know this particular location is a Councilor LaPlante's district, but the gentleman called me, so I went and I spoke to at least 3 of them in that corner, and we talked about what works for them. As you know, we always get phone calls from people on barber shops and different type of businesses. And I did the same thing Councilor LaPlante did, but he's obviously got a different view than different response from some of the businesses than I did when I went there. That's the reason why. Because I don't want to put a burden on some of these other businesses. I think it's going to hurt them. But at the same time, the people that were there, they were all in favor. So I'm not sure which business was the one that told you that they needed the longer time. Do you know which one that was?
It was the barber shop and the beauty salon. Their clientele stays there longer than a half an hour.
No, I agree with that. When I go get a haircut, and I don't have a lot of
Pardon
hair.
me?
When I go get a haircut and I don't have a lot of hair, it takes me more than an hour.
Okay, so I've got a motion to send it to the full council. It's made, seconded, discussed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. A motion to take document number 328-12 off the table and out of order.
Second.
Made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Document number 328-12 was with regard to a no parking zone at the end of Beacon Ave near Andover Street. Officer?
Yeah, in regards to 328, the house that lives, the person that lives the corner of Andover and Beacon Ave has concerns that a lot of the vehicles, larger vehicles, trucks, and fire trucks especially, have issues making that corner. Beacon Ave's pretty narrow. It's pretty tight when you're coming off of Andover Street. On the west side of the street, there's an apartment building with a large parking lot, so there's really no parking on that side anyways. But if vehicles do park, there's no parking restrictions in place right now. I think at one point they thought there might have been, but we've checked and they don't exist. If people do park along that stretch of Beacon Ave, even if it's 20 feet from the intersection of Andover Street, it does create a pretty tight quarters, especially for like a ladder truck, for instance, especially where there's a ladder truck in that area. If they have to respond to a call coming in from Andover Street, they're going to have a pretty hard time. They might have to kind of back in and out a little bit, which we obviously don't want. That's a delayed response. So what I did was I went out there today, I measured it out, and what I'm going to, normally the normal is 20 feet from a corner. So what I'm going to recommend is from the southeast corner of Beacon Ave and Andover Street, and put that to a point 40 feet to add that, just that extra 20 feet buffer zone. And there's still plenty of parking, you know, on the, that portion of Beacon Ave, so it's really not affecting anybody. It's not in front of anybody's house specifically. You know, somebody's not losing parking in front of their residence. It's just going to open up that corner so that if a ladder truck or any large piece of equipment has to get in and out of that area, they have access to that corner without doing any damage. So that'll be my recommendation as far as Beacon Ave and Andover Street.
Great, okay, thank you. Getting a motion?
Make a motion to send it up to the full council with a favor recommendation to order a public hearing and to the city attorney to draft the language.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then, actually, 2 more from the officer. Get a motion to take document number 338-12 off the table and out of order. Motion's
Second.
made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Document number 338-12 is with regard to the South Common for commercial vehicles. Officer?
Yes, in reference to, yeah, this was a request that, for commercial vehicle parking. I guess, you know, there's a lot of attention being drawn over there for commercial vehicles parking in this area. There's a lot of question as to what's commercial, what's not, what's residential, where can these vehicles park, if they can park there at all. On this issue, I came over here to see how I went to inspectional services. I looked at the zoning map. And basically, the streets that are around the perimeter of the South Common, Salem Street, Osgood Street, and South Union Street, they're not commercial zoned areas. However, Market Street between South Union and Osgood is a commercially zoned vehicle. And right now, there is a ordinance 10.32.020 as far as commercial parking on certain streets. And it basically reads that commercial vehicles are not allowed to park in a residential area. They have to be restricted to commercially zoned areas. So as far as what's currently in place right now, as far as Salem Street, South Union, and Osgood, they can't park. But a commercial vehicle can park on Market Street, at least the way everything's written right now.
I'm going to get a motion, and then we'll have some discussion. Does that sound?
Madam Chair, through you, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
I don't know what motion to take based on the information that I'm getting from the officer. Are they parking all around the park, or are they just parking in the location where they can park?
I'm not really sure. I think maybe Councilor Plant has had some contact with people in that area. He could probably answer that better. I haven't gotten any complaints. I'm not sure if there have been. But as far as what I was asked, I just wanted to see what zone for what, so at least there's some clarification. So if a vehicle does park in a residential zone, obviously we can take action on it based on this ordinance.
Councilor Plant, Madam Chair, through you?
Yeah.
Is that what's happening there? Are they parking all around the park, or just?
There are times when you'll see some of the tractor trailers parked on Salem Street. It is not as frequent as it once was, but it still happens. The question that some of my constituents have had was with respect to the parking on Market Street specifically. And there's two schools of thought on that. One school of thought is it's a common, we don't need tractor trailer trucks there. There are some concerns about the nature of the activities with the tractor trailer trucks. There are some residential areas that at one point was a hot topic area with drugs and crime and prostitution, and that there was a concern this was a stop where some people could take advantage of that area and do some illicit activities. So that's one pocket of thought. The other pocket of thought dealt with, it is a commercial area, it's an industrial area. We should, these truckers need a place to park their trucks. We're supposed to be pro-business. I guess I'm told, and I can't verify this, that a couple of these truckers actually live on Osgood Street. So there's an argument to allow them to park there. What I would ask this committee to do, because I didn't anticipate that this would be coming up this evening, and what I did tell my constituents is I wanted to give them a heads up to actually allow them an opportunity to speak on this either way, rather than me just saying these things. So I would ask the committee to table this matter so I can inform my constituents that this topic is coming before it will be at the ordinance committee, and they can have an opportunity to address the committee and let you know their views on the matter.
That sounds fine. You want to table this?
I would love to too, but I want to see if Councilor LaPlante, since this is his document, if he can review this a little further in terms of the zoning issues. How is that going to affect if we change the ordinance? Legality-wise, we're going to have to probably talk to the city attorney to see if we can put an ordinance in place. Are we violating any laws because it's zoned differently? This is a commercial zone, so we're going to have to change the zoning in order for us to probably enforce any sort of ordinance.
Well, I'm just wondering if when the people that live in the district recognize that the police right now can enforce it as far as Salem Street, Osgood Street, and South Union, and really it's just Market Street that we're talking about at this point. So maybe making sure everyone's clear on that point, which will help. If someone's calling it into the police station, it gives them, or to their counselor, they'll know that if it's on Salem Street, it's an issue. If it's on Market Street, it's not. Would that be enough of a satisfaction to them? Or do they want to rezone Market Street, which is pretty industrial, though, like that other side of the street? Granted, one side of the street is the common. So, yeah, I hear what you're saying. To have a conversation with them might be, and they have a neighborhood meeting coming up, too, so maybe.
That's right. They have a neighborhood meeting coming up next Tuesday. Invite all the councilors, if they have an interest in this, to show up. We put a brief plug. The South Common Neighborhood Association will be meeting at 6:30 next Tuesday, and I'm sure this will be coming up. They typically, and they'll be meeting at the Relief Inn on Market Street next Tuesday. So I'm sure this will come up in conversation when I report back to them how this committee has voted this evening.
Sure. The only unfortunate thing is the Budget and Finance is meeting here on Tuesday at 6:30 or 7, and they're also going to be talking about the election process, so I know people are going to be torn between the two
Sure.
things.
That's my request. I mean, obviously, if you decide to move it up to the full council, that's they'll have a chance to talk there, but I was kind of hoping that they wanted to know when it was coming before the ordinance committee, and I just wanted to at least try to honor their wishes to the best of my abilities.
We're gonna meet again, more
Yeah,
than likely
I'm-
February 7th, so. which is-
I mean, I'm not ready to vote on this yet.
Yeah.
I mean, this is his district, obviously, there's a concern in that district, but at the same time, we want to make sure we do things properly. If we have to change the zoning, then we have to implement, and then we're going to have to create a different ordinance to prohibit this tractor trailer to park there. I'm not sure if we can do it now, based on the zoning.
Well, we'd have to rezone that side of Market
Correct, that's what I'm
Street,
saying, we're going to have to rezone, so it's not as easy as just putting an ordinance in place.
Well, it's interesting, maybe we can send a letter out to Mr. Body or to Mr. McCarthy, who's the land use planner, and see if they have any informed opinions as to what the methodology should be if the council decides they want to prohibit parking from that street. And I'm not sure I'm in favor of that yet myself. I need to hear more from my constituents, but at least we understand what the pathway is to get to that point if the council determines that's the way we want to go.
So,
I'll take that as a motion.
so send correspondence to the city
correspondence, yeah.
attorney and the planning department? Is that it?
Yes, either one, I think, can give us an informed decision. We probably get something quicker from the land use planner than at this point from the city attorney. Maybe we can just get it to the land use planner, we'll just make it real simple, because if we end up waiting for the city attorney, no offense to the city
Oh,
attorney.
sure, no.
I know they're pretty
Yeah,
busy.
none- On his behalf, I say none is taken, as
Yeah.
if. But I'd say, so let's send it to both. We'll send it to the city attorney and to the land use planner, looking for their informed opinion as to the ability to make this modification or adopt this kind of ordinance.
Without a zoning change.
Okay.
Essentially, I think what the council president's asking, can we do this unilaterally without a zoning change, or is a zoning change required?
I guess we have to know that, I mean, that's the reason why we have zonings in place.
Yeah. All right. So is that, someone willing to make that motion for Council LaPlante?
Yeah.
Motion's
the motion.
made. Seconded. All in favor?
Aye. Motion to retable the item, Madam Chair?
Motion to table's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm trying to take notes. I appreciate that so much more.
That's all right, sorry about that.
So a motion was to send a letter. It was made and seconded. Okay, great. Officer, we have one more report with you. Is that
Yes.
document number 341-12? Can I please get a motion to take that item off the table and out of order?
Second?
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
This motion was for two 15-minute parking spots in front of 61-63 Olive Ave.
Reference to document 341. This location is a daycare. 6163 is, it's a two-family, but it's utilized both sides by a daycare. And I went out to this location, I spoke to one of the owners, Maribel Herrera, and in the first 5 minutes I was there, there's actually a couple of drop-offs while I was there. So kind of, talked about the 15-minute parking. I also informed her of how like a drop-off and pickup zone would work. And it kind of worked out well, because during the time I was there, in the first 5 minutes, they had a couple of vans come drop off small kids, and I'm parked in front of the house, so they couldn't. So, it just kind of painted that picture. So her and I discussed the option of the drop-off and a pickup zone, and she was actually more open to that, because now it keeps the front of her business open, the vans can pull in, and from what I've seen, I mean, the short period of time, they got a couple, was pretty correct. They go in, they drop off, and they go. There's no long-term parking, and, there's no long-term waiting. Plus, opening up the front of this house, again, is the same premise on Garden Street, keeps the street open. Keeps the kids closer to the sidewalk, getting them off safely, especially when these kids are small. There's, kids coming off in car seats and whatnot. So she was in favor and very open to this. So my recommendation is to make the drop-off and pickup zone from the northeast corner of Canterbury Street and Olive Ave to a point 60 feet, and from the northeast corner of Canterbury Street and Olive Ave to a point 95 feet. This places the drop-off and pickup zone on the north side of Olive Ave, directly in front of number 61-63 Olive Ave.
Great. Anyone have any questions for the officer on the item?
Madam Chair, I'd just like to take the officer's recommendation, instead of a 2 15-minute parking space, make it a drop-off zone. And I want to make a motion to send that up to the full council with a favor recommendation and to the city attorney, to hold a public hearing, and to the city attorney to draft the proper language.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Sure we'll be sending you some new materials, but
Yeah.
thank you for all your work on that.
Also, there's another document on here, I think it's 311, was that 311 information? They had sent the request to Chief Romero, so I'm here on his behalf on that document when it comes
All
up.
officers here, can I get a motion?
know.
Why don't I see that on our agenda?
Unless- 331, okay, my apologies.
'Cause I'm looking for document number 311.
331-12?
331-12, which is at the top of the second page.
Motion to take document 331-12 out of order and update.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Document 331-12 is with regard to a non-emergency constituent phone service that was put on the agenda by Councilor Vasquez.
Well, in reference to that, I spoke to Councilor Vasquez briefly in the back before the meeting started, about basically how the process is going to work. As far as the police department, I mean, we're in favor of it. I think it's, information is good for people. I think we feel keeping people informed, obviously, is the, a good option. I just think as far as how, the who, what, where, when, and why kind of a deal, probably has to be worked out outside the police department. I don't know exactly who puts it in place, and how it works, but as far as the, police department standpoint, and we think it'd be a good idea. Just so we have that on record.
Councilor Vasquez, I know you had put this item on the agenda. Did you have anything you want to add, or?
Yeah, the idea behind this item, I know that usually the police department receives phone calls for basically everything.
Is your mic on?
It should be on. If a water main breaks or a tree fell or anything of that nature, people would just call 911 or the police department. And I think that it will be much convenient for the police department to receive only emergency calls instead of any call that is non-emergency related. So the idea behind it is to create a 311 system in which residents could just call the 311 system to inform whichever department might have to work in, if it's something DPW related or something in the IT department or, anything in that regard, they could just call that number directly instead of calling 911 to report something that is non-emergency. And I spoke to Officer Scanlon with regards to this, and, it was referenced to the IT department previously, so I think it would just be to send back again correspondence to them to see if they have been able to do any research in regards to this matter. I also spoke to the DPW director briefly, and he's in favor of this particular item. It seems like everyone understands that it will be beneficial for the residents in the city, and, it will be providing additional services for them.
So what I'm hearing you say is that the police department likes the concept and thinks it would be
Yeah,
helpful.
it's just,
That we don't really have the IT department's input as far as logistics of how we'd adopt this, though. So that's what we're looking for next.
Yes, correspondence was sent to them previously. I guess it will be sent correspondence again.
Okay.
And they don't have to come back to our next ordinance meeting if they don't have information, but at least give us a heads up as to where we are in the process. This might be something long-term. There might be some studies that may need to be done. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a cost behind it. So, just to give us a heads up of where we are in this matter, and, probably a timeline as to when we might be seeing some results.
Okay.
So
So-
I'd make that in form of a motion.
Council Vasquez is making a motion to send the IT department some follow-up correspondence, asking them what this type of program would entail, some cost estimates, and some timelines.
Second.
So motion's been made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Great,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much.
Up through you, Madam Chair. Before Officer Scanlon's leaves, actually, I'd like to take document 337-12 off the table and out of order.
Motion to take this item off the table and out of order has been made,
Second.
seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Item number 337-12 is with regard to handicapped parking at 113 Myrtle Street. It's a Santo Gaben, was put on the agenda by Council Vasquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Officer Scanlon and I spoke briefly about this. I received a call from Mr. Gavin with regards to this particular item, and I asked him if it will be okay to send this item.
No, the TV went out, not that. Sorry. We're off the air. Back on. Go ahead, I apologize.
No, that's fine. Again, I received a call earlier today from Mr. Gavin, and I spoke to Officer Scanlon with regards to it. And it's to place a handicap parking sign in front of his property. This person has a placard and has difficulty with mobility. And I asked Officer Scanlon if it will be okay to send it up to the full council. I guess without a favorable recommendation at this time, since we don't have a written documentation from him. And he said that it will be okay. He will be to order a public hearing and, any language from the city attorney. He will give us the more logistic and his view on it for our next council meeting.
So we're saying that we'd send this up without a recommendation, pending the office written report being filed by that February 5th council meeting.
I can have it done by then.
And
that's
do
no
we
problem.
have a placard for this Santo
Gavin,
Gavin
yes.
on record?
we do have it.
Okay, that's, yeah. So if there's a placard on record, I think we can, yeah. The placard on file.
Second the motion.
Motion's been made,
Sec-
seconded. Officer, you realistic for that February 5th timeframe is
Oh, yeah, that's no problem.
great. I
Thank you.
appreciate you doing that.
Thank you very much.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Now you really go this time. Thank you. Great. I know we have some folks here that are on some, couple different items. What I was thinking, maybe we'll just take them in the order that they're on the agenda of who checked in at the beginning of the meeting. I could start with document number 350-12, which is an old gold and secondhand dealer license. There's a Brian Corley at Spindle City Precious Metals. So if you could just come up and state your name and address for the record. Can you just give us 1 second? Find your paperwork.
Yep, it's Brian Corley, 550 Algonquin Drive, Warwick, Rhode Island. $346, $347,
$350. Okay. This was a request for an old gold and secondhand dealer license. Is this a new license or is it a renewal?
It's a new.
New license, okay. Just want to take a quick look at your application. Says you guys are out of Somerset, Mass.
Yes, it would only be, this is an application for a license for a temporary event, not to open a storefront or anything.
Oh, it's a temporary event.
Yes.
So should it be more through you, Madam Chair, a transit vendor license since?
There's a letter in there from the state saying that we don't need a transient vendor license, and I've cleared it with the city clerk here as well.
Okay. Thank you. That, actually, the city clerk mentioned that to me specifically, because I guess that issue had been coming up.
Yeah.
Is this like a one-day function, or a,
It would be 5 days.
what would the 5 days be?
I haven't booked them yet because I wanted to make sure we had the license first.
Sure. Is it like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing, or what do you?
Generally operate Friday to Tuesday, depending on the availability of our location.
Okay, and, I see on his sales, is that gonna be like in his function room, or is that gonna be?
In the function room, yes, I believe so.
He has so much space over there, I didn't know if it was gonna be in a different facility.
Not sure exactly, but I believe in the function room. We don't require a lot of space, but
Says you, purchase and appraise precious metals, jewelry, antiques, and collectibles. One of the things we have in Lawrence a problem with is the pawn shops. We do have good pawn shops that try very hard to comply with the law. They keep the proper log that the police department requires. They photograph their inventory. They get copies of driver's licenses. How do you prevent theft at your events if it's people coming in and you're not
So
going
we
to be there?
make them, we do take a photo ID from the person. We copy it, depending on the requirements of the particular city we're in. We take pictures of both the ID and the items and slips, send them to the police department. Some police departments require it at the end of every day, some just at the end of the event, and then
Okay.
some require us to hold the merchandise for a certain amount of time.
Have you talked to anyone at the, or someone from your organization talked to anyone at the Lawrence Police Department so far?
I haven't yet. Before we have any event, I would definitely ask them what they would require as far as reporting, because they're pretty flexible in doing whatever the local authorities require.
Usually, with the other vendor-type licenses that we have, there is a sign-off from the police department specifically.
There's one in there as well, for a background check.
Yeah, I don't see it. I see,
There, or it should be at least. I'm sorry, I didn't bring a pack with me. I left
Yeah,
it
it's
at my
not here.
office.
I see the sign-off from the tax departments that you guys don't have any tax violations, any water bills or inspectional-type bills. I see tax compliance from the DOR, which is great. I see the letter from the Division of Standards that this isn't a transient vendor event. You don't need a hawkers and peddlers license, which is helpful.
There should, I don't have it with me. I was emailed the packet of everything I submitted from Mr. Maloney. If
So,
You'd
I
like-
guess this is what I'd like to propose, is maybe we send it up to the full council without a recommendation. The paperwork that we have is in order, but we don't have any verification that the Lawrence Police Department has reviewed this application. So we have from now till February 5th to get that.
Yeah, we do have, maybe we just have they've signed off on the query that we've given them.
We usually get a
I-
letter that says that they've seen a query, and it's just not in our package.
Okay, I can, if you'd like, email it to you at any point. Sure, I have it on my phone, but,
That's right, if you've been working with the city clerk, I would say continue to give him the paperwork.
Okay.
And he'll get it to us, and he'll get it into the package, which is why it's better to give it to him than to us directly.
okay.
But if you can just get any verification that the Lawrence Police Department is aware of the event, have reviewed your query information, and we can have that by our next meeting, which is February 5th, you shouldn't have a problem. But if you can
Okay.
just if it's not filed by then, we will have a problem.
Yeah.
So, does anyone have any other questions for
Madam
this
Chair, through
applicant?
you, the only, I have another issue. It's,
Yeah,
the application says Monday through Sunday. It doesn't say it's only 5 days. I'd like to see the dates
sure.
that this is going to be happening. I mean, it says Monday through Sunday, so
That was just to give
And it seems
hours,
like-
that was just to give hours of operation on it. I know it doesn't have dates, because I know we had originally planned it, and then realized the licensing procedure was a bit longer. So I wanted to hold off putting dates, because I didn't want to put the restaurant in the position of booking something
Do
and
you
then having to
think you
cancel it and push it
Could
back.
be booked final by February 5th. Is that realistic for you?
We can, yes, assuming that we can go under the presumption that if all our paperwork is in order, it'll pass. I don't see a problem with booking it probably late February, early March for those dates.
So if you set up your dates with Sal, you've got a couple of weeks to figure that out. I think it's almost 3 full weeks. Figure out your dates, and then as long as we have those dates in the police department paperwork, we would take the final, because we don't need a public hearing on this.
no, you don't.
So we'd take a final vote on February 5th, which is a Tuesday, and you should be okay. But it is helpful to have the actual dates, so we know exactly what's happening.
Okay, that's fine then.
Madam Chair, I'd like to send it up to the full council without a favor recommendation pending the police report and the dates for the event.
Okay, a motion's been made,
Second?
seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Great,
Thank
so
you.
we'll see you on Tuesday night, February 5th,
February
okay?
5th, yep. Here as well? Same location?
Same location,
Thank
yeah. The next item on the agenda is, that someone is checked in for, is document number 7-13. Can I please get a motion to take that out of order?
So move.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Document number 7-13 was a request for handicap parking, or handicap drop-off, I guess. It was put on the agenda by the Lawrence Medical Center, which is at 320 Essex Street. Gary Hamilton had put that on as their clinical administrator, and Mr. Hamilton is here with us tonight. Hi.
Good evening, councilors.
Good
Gary
evening.
Hamilton, representing the Lawrence Medical Center. and I'm here this evening because we have a request in front of the council for a handicap drop-off. One of the requirements for an operation like this, which is a outpatient care facility, is to make it accessible to the disabled. So we're asking your consideration for the approval of a handicap drop-off, which would be located right in front of the building, which is 320 Essex Street. It's in the central building. Probably familiar with the central building, right here on Essex Street. And I'm here to answer any questions that the council may have.
When it says drop-off, typically we say 20 feet is a parking spot. Are you looking for like a one spot or two, like, do you have an idea of the distance you'd like to see?
We'd like it as large as possible, Councilor, so, you know, we figured that possibly you'd make a recommendation. But we're expecting that there will be people who'll be wheelchair-bound. There will be people, we're not expecting that, we know that's going to happen. And, you know, the longer the length so that a car can swing in or a taxi cab can swing in, that would be the best suitable for us.
Okay, we're looking at, I'm gonna guess 40 to 50 feet. 40 feet is a full car length, 20 feet is a full car length, 40 would be two. 50 if we're talking about an ambulance. I don't know what, should we send this to the Officer Scanlon first?
We should send it to Officer Scotland.
The officer that was just here, you heard
Yes.
him. Basically, that's the next step, then we'll send it to him for his, he actually goes to
Recommendation.
the site. And if you want, he can even call you the day he's going to the site.
That'll be
So
fine.
that you'll meet him there and look at it together. That seems to be the most productive,
Okay,
if that's something that you can do.
sure, that's fine. I left my phone number is on the request, Councilor.
Yep, I see it. Is that the medical center number here at the top?
Right.
Perfect, yep.
So, you know,
Okay.
you
So
you can
what-
just give us a call. This is a normal step, that an officer comes out and takes a look at the site.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's part of it. You just saw him do it on like 6 other ones. That's what we do, yeah.
Fine, okay.
But yeah, why don't we have Officer Scanlon touch base with you, and then before our next meeting, two of you can get together and come up with, he's the best person to come up with the actual measurements, knowing what you need and what the state law requires, and then he'll apply it.
We appreciate that.
Great, okay.
Thank you. So I just wait to hear from the officer.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to send it to Officer Scotland for his recommendation.
Second, with just one quick question.
Sure, yep.
Do you want us to do a ramp on the sidewalk or just,
No, we weren't planning on a ramp, Councilor Moran,
okay, so, all right.
just a space.
Great, so I've got a motion. It's
Second.
been seconded, discussed, all in favor?
Aye.
I will make sure Officer Scanlon has your number and can get a hold of you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Have a good evening, Councilor.
Thank you, you
Take
too.
Thank you.
The next item that someone has checked in on for the agenda was document number 8-13, which was a stop sign for Cross Street and Cedar Streets. It was put on the agenda by Councilor Vasquez. I know we're gonna send that out to the police department for a traffic study, but I know one of the residents is here. Did you wanna say anything, sir, or you?
I'll throw my 2 cents worth in. It's Dick Russell, 34 Cross Street.
Hold on one
Motion to
second.
take out of order document 8-13.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm still Dick Russell, 34 Cross Street. None of my neighbors know about this. I know the spring and summer is coming, and the speeding problem on Cross Street is not going to be diminished. Over the course of the 12 years I've lived there, we have had a school at the General Donovan School. It is not a school anymore, but as far as I know, the speed limit on Cross Street is by ordinance 20 miles an hour. I have never seen any paperwork sent to me to change the speed limit to anything other than 20 miles an hour. The school is not in use anymore as a school. I have talked to Chief Romero about putting radar trap up the top of the hill at Cedar Street, Cross Street, and he said at the time, several years ago, he said he didn't have the manpower. I suggested speed bumps. I was told that was unfeasible due to the fact that Cross Street is used as an emergency thoroughfare for both police, fire, and ambulance vehicles. I can accept that. In the summertime, I have seen the motorcycles in excess of 90 miles an hour going up the street. I mean, fortunate, in the 12 years, I've only seen one child hit. The child ran into the side of a car, was uninjured. But the speeding has to be resolved. Like I said, I speak for myself, my neighbors, they keep to themselves, they know nothing about this, this move by me to try to slow the speeding down, but it would greatly improve the neighborhood. We do have a lot of, how can I put this tactfully, taxi cabs, mail trucks that seem to think that as they go past my house where the hill where it starts to increase in grade, that they have to basically slap third gear rubber to make the top of the hill. I've seen the cabs on two wheels take the left at the top of Cross Street and take the left down to Cedar Street to go to Broadway to several cab companies. They really don't care. They're a money-oriented business. The people that live there, they're just a necessary evil they have to work around. So anything that could be done to help diminish the speed on Cross Street would be appreciated by me, and I'm pretty sure would be appreciated by my neighbors. As to the other end of Cross Street, when I talked to Councilor Vasquez, I alluded to the other end of Cross Street, which is two-way. Those people, the traffic is more congested, the speed is more regulated by the congestion, but my portion of the street, it is one way, it's 4 lanes, there's 2 lanes of parking, and there is basically room for 2 lanes of traffic to travel. The wider the space, the faster they go. This I know from my experience as a surveyor. People are gonna, the wider it is, the faster they're gonna go. So if anything can be done, I'd appreciate it. And Officer Scanlon can get a hold of me, talk to me about it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd like to send this document to Officer Scanlon. I make that in form of a motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Maybe we make a motion also on that to send correspondence to the city clerk, just to verify what the current ordinance is for speed on Cross Street, because it's Cross Street that we're talking about, right?
This is Cross Street between Tremont and Cedar Street. It is posted at 20 miles an hour on a telephone pole directly across the street from my house.
The reason I asked, though, is some of the local speed limits are set by state law, like you're saying, in a school zone, it's 20 miles an hour, whether it's posted or not. And I don't know if, when the school's gone, if that would change. So if it maybe should be posted as something else, let's post it accurately, but let's find that out.
If it had been changed, wouldn't communication come to the abutters on the street to let them know?
That's true, thank you, Kendris. The folks at home would like to hear you. input,
Wouldn't,
yeah.
if a change had occurred in the speed limit, wouldn't communication have been sent out to the people on the street that a change was going to occur in the speed limit?
Not necessarily, like, if we are gonna change an ordinance here as a body, we do send out notice to different situations, or the zoning board is changing the zoning, notify the abutters, but some speed limits are just set by state law based on the nature of a street.
Yeah.
So if the nature of the street changes, the speed limit would change with it, and people wouldn't necessarily get notice in those instances. So I don't know, but let's find out for you, so at least we can give you accurate information, so.
But like I said, when I moved there 12 years ago, directly across the street from my house is a hydrant.
Okay.
12 feet up from that hydrant, going up the hill, there was a telephone pole that had a sign that said, "School zone, 20 miles an hour." A box truck took both signs down. I put up the 20 miles an hour zone, speed limit sign back up. I have the school zone sign in my, school zone sign in my backyard. Not that it does any good because it's not a school anymore,
Sure, sure.
but
John's been looking for that sign, so we'll send him right over to get it.
it's, yeah, okay. All right, I appreciate it.
Take care. So I was asking for maybe a motion just to send correspondence to the city clerk, just to verify what the ordinance or the speed limit is in that area now.
Sure, I make that in form of a motion.
Motion made by Councilor Vasquez,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Moran. All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Next document, take out of order, please, would be document 9-13 with regard to transient vendor license for Rafael Gonzalez at 48 Brook Street. Motion?
Motion to get it out of order?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi,
Good
Jim.
night.
Good
My
evening.
name is Rafael Gonzalez, living in 48 Brook Street.
Great. Hold on one moment, sir, I just want to make sure we have all your paperwork in front of us. Is this a renewal or a new
No,
license?
renew.
Renew. So you have it already?
Yes.
Okay. And what kind of food do you sell?
Sandwich and hot dog.
Sandwiches and?
Chimneys.
Jimmy.
All right. Just say chimneys next time. I'm
He knows
learning.
about it.
I'm learning. Okay, I see the paperwork is here, transient vendor application. It's a renewal. So you mostly go on Jackson Street, that's your area. Thursdays through Sundays, 7 PM to 3 AM. Sandwiches, hot dog, soda.
Yes.
One employee. I see that the tax assessor signed off on the, filing fees are paid. Have you gone to the fire department?
Yes,
You have, yes, you have, of course you have. Does it check?
it's there.
Do you use gas or oil, or what do you cook with?
Gas,
Gas. okay.
propane.
Propane, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the fire
I
department.
see your Parkers and Peddlers is here. 48 Brook Street, do you rent that property or do you own it?
No, it's his.
You own it, okay?
Yeah.
Do you own any other properties in the city?
No,
No, just 48 Brook Street?
yes.
Okay. It says that the taxes, the water, and the inspectional services are all in good standing at Brook Street, which is good to see. I do see sign-off from Chief Romero that he's approved this. I see the sign-offs from both fire departments, the electrical and the fire prevention, which is great. Hawkers and Peddlers is here. Everything seems to be in order. Does anyone have any questions for this applicant?
Madam Chair, everything seems to be in order. I'd like to send it up to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Motion to send it up has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
So, if you gentlemen could come back Tuesday night, February 5th is the full council meeting.
Okay,
We'll vote on it for the final time that night, but everything is filed, everything's in order, your fees are paid, so you should be all set. The other councilors may have questions for you,
okay,
but we'll
that's
see you
fine.
at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, have a good night.
Thank you, you
Thank
too.
you.
Okay, I see John, I'm sorry. I got the guy from National Grid too, though. I don't know who's sitting here longer. Mr. Bouchard, you're here with document number 298-12. Can I get a motion to take 298-12 off the table and out of order?
So move.
Motion's made, seconded, all in favor? Aye. Document 298-12 is, this is an underground electrical conduit on Brook Street. And I know this is done in conjunction with the people at Lawrence no, not Lawrence Community Works, Groundworks Lawrence. I had gotten a call from them about this, and I thought Jim Barnes was gonna be here today, but, clearly he's not. That's okay. So would you just state your name and address for the record, please?
David Boucher, Senior Design Technician at National Grid, 1101 Turnpike Street, North Andover. There's a Riverwalk along the Spigot River that's being built, or I'm not sure about how complete it is yet, but along that Riverwalk that starts at Stevens Pond and pretty much all the way to Brook Street, there are several locations where there are emergency boxes that the police department have. All the other locations were easily enough provided electricity to those boxes, but this particular spot there on Brook Street did not have a pole on the same side of the road. As an alternative to placing a pole there, the electrician wanted to provide this service to the city for the Riverwalk by going underground to the pole across the street. And that's what the petition's all about, and if the city sees fit, we'll hook up the service for that emergency call box along the Riverwalk.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for the applicant?
Just one, Madam Chair, through you.
Yeah.
I love what they're trying to do, Madam Chair. But I gotta be consistent on what I said before. Until I see a letter from National Grid stating how many double poles you're removing on a monthly basis, a weekly basis, I will not be in favor of voting on this. Even though this is a good thing, I think we need it. but we've been asking for this report for the last 2 months.
More.
More than 2 months,
Since October.
and I'm sure it doesn't happen in any other city in town. There's always double poles everywhere in the city of Lawrence. They don't remove them. Every time I drive home, I see the same double pole, same corner. I keep calling for the past 6 months, and it's still there. I haven't seen a list. I haven't seen anybody moving these double poles. I don't see that happening in any other cities in town, but in Lawrence, and I'm sick and tired of hearing it's Lawrence, so let's leave it there. And this is not on you. This is on your company. So, Madam Chair, I'm not going to be supporting this item tonight, just because I got to be consistent on, and I believe that until we get a report from them on when they're going to be removing these poles, and I understand this is a new pole. This is not another pole that they're going to attach to this one, but I got to be consistent. I need a report from them in order for me to start voting in favor of anything you guys do.
Okay.
And this has nothing to do with you, just the company itself.
Through you, Madam Chair.
Yes, yeah.
Similar to Councilor Moran, last time we heard from National Grid, they said that there were approximately 98 double poles in the city of Lawrence. I went out in just a section of my district, which is primarily the Arlington neighborhood, and I found 48 double poles, meaning that and I have the list written, so, after I finish here, we'll make a 1-minute recess so I could go print it and provide it to him. Because I think that is important. If we have 48 just within my district, that means that it's 50%. It's either not accurate what National Grid has, or my district is just bombarded with double poles. It's either or. So I won't be voting for this either. If you want, we could table it again, up to your discretion. Otherwise, it's not gonna go up on my behalf. And
Kind of in defense of this poor gentleman from National Grid, I did reach out to Art McCabe. Art's been our liaison with National Grid on this issue in particular. Started reaching out to him yesterday, but after we'd been reaching out since December, but we had a little hiatus there for the holidays. He did get back to me. I said, I need specifics. I need dates. I need some locations. I need something specific. And he did say that since the first request in October, he's been told that 50 poles have been removed. And I said, well, that's helpful, but give me 5 examples. I need could we drive by a location that just help us verify something? Because 50 poles is a big number. That'd be great if that's accurate. That's about 10 poles a month between October and now. And if they're going at 10 poles a month, that would be pretty good. But at the same time, I don't have any specifics. I don't have one date or one address on when that happened. So he did say that he thought he was actually going to have a report in from both National Grid and Verizon by next Tuesday. So do you want to send this up without a recommendation, or you want to just sit on it?
I'll prefer to sit on it here until we actually see results in the Ordinance Committee. I personally feel that way. I don't know how.
I feel the same way, Madam Chair, as Council Vasquez. I think 50 poles. I have poles on the Ames Street that's been there for 2 years. Where are they removing them from?
Oh,
Yeah. I'd like to make a 1-minute recess. Let's make it 3 minutes just so I could get enough time, and I'll
Okay.
provide that list.
I don't think he needs the list anyway. I mean, David, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it'd be better off if we gave that list to Art McCabe.
I provided it to
You
Art
did,
already.
okay.
Oh, I already has the list,
He
okay.
should.
If you'd like a copy, we're happy to get it for you, but I don't think.
No, there's someone at my company that could give that to me if I needed it to come back to another meeting.
Okay.
All right.
And it would list how many poles that we are all off on, and we're waiting for telephone, where we are off and telephone are off, and it's up to us to remove the pole. So there's say there's 1,000 poles that are double. There's they're all in different categories of where they are in the removal process of getting rid of that old pole, so.
Right.
And we can provide that to you. You can have that, I can have that for you at the next meeting. You can also contact our representative, David Gendel. I believe he has that information, and if you want, I can have him call someone at town clerk or something to to provide you with that? Might be able to email it to you or fax it to you or something, or? Do you have a,
I'll give you a card, is that?
what's that?
Actually, Mr. Sensei is right behind you. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the head of our DPW department.
We would have seen that.
Well, that's what I can't, they're saying that since October, 50 poles have come down. That'd be 10 a month. October, November, December, January. Yeah.
It's not happening, Madam Chair. I'm not
No,
calling
I'm-
it, but I'm just saying, it's not happening. I've been here 5 years, and I keep beating that horse since for the past 5 years, and it's still not happening, and I just had it. I don't think I will ever vote in favor of anything from National Grid until I see some improvement. And I haven't seen it in 5 years.
Just to defend us, and not to point fingers, okay? But it might not be our company that is
Right.
making the
The
stall.
last one off the pole is the one
Okay.
responsible to take
Yeah.
it down. So not every pole is National Grid.
It could be us. Maybe it's 99% our fault. I don't know.
I don't either, but some
But the point is,
percentages-
you want them off and you want them out of there. I understand that, and there's a procedure for that to go through, and it's not
And I
happening.
feel bad for Groundworks Lawrence, because it sounds like they have a pretty good project going on.
Yes, yeah.
But we have to hold the ground here. It's been happening too long. We always get complaints from our constituents all the time. You have one in your district,
I do.
and he called me a couple of times as well, and I'm sure he bothers you more than he bothers me. And
He
that
doesn't
pole has
bother
been
me
there
at
for
all.
2 or 3 years, I believe.
Yeah.
Is it out yet, or it's still up there?
Actually, the one that you were talking about is out.
Yeah, oh, it's out? After 2.5 years?
Well, it was
Probably
a
more.
stub for a while, and then it's gone, yeah.
So as you can see, you probably have a process of what stages.
Yep.
But does it take 2.5 years to take?
No.
So you agree with me?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And don't feel alone. I mean, there's situations in other towns like,
I don't see it as much as Lawrence. And I drive in a lot of,
right, I'm all around like 18 towns in the Merrimack Valley, and I kind of have an idea. You're not alone.
you have one in every corner, just about every other corner in the city of Lawrence, believe it or not.
Yeah, yeah.
I lived up in Tower Hill for the past 17 years, and there's 3 poles that's still there over the past 3 or 4 years. They're still there, double poles. Every day I drive by, and I think it's going to fall on top of my car. Been there pretty good.
Yeah, if it's a
It can be
safety
good.
situation like that, I mean, you can always, if it looks that dangerous, I mean, call us up and maybe someone will be sent out to see if it's that dangerous that we need to get there right away, you know, so.
I just
it's
like to
obvious.
see them move, that's all. We just like to see them move.
Yeah, yeah.
How long does it take to remove a pole? What's the average, a double pole?
I
I
don't
know
know.
I'm putting you on the spot.
I'm not.
Maybe that's
no,
not an answer you have, but
I'm not like the person who that accounts for when poles are being removed or not. Someone might be able to figure that out by getting the beginning and end point of when a pole is being changed. Somewhere they could figure out that statistically, but I don't know, I wouldn't know that off the top of my head, you know?
but you agree not 2 years.
2 years is a long time. It's not supposed to be that long. It's supposed to be like about 3 or 4 months. That's what the procedure is supposed to be.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to table this item.
Second.
Motion to table's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
If we get a report in from Art McCabe, the person that we've been working with at the planning office, we'll let you know. I don't want to have you come back down for another meeting before we get the report, but supposedly we're going to have this report on double poles as early as next Tuesday. So if we have that, we'll be meeting again in February. We'll invite you back.
You'll let us know?
Yeah.
I mean, we only
Yeah, I
were
don't
told
wanna-
yesterday
Our
about
staff
this.
will, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So you'll let us know with like a week's notice, like, you know?
Of
we'll
course,
do-
yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll see what I can do about, I believe, talking to this gentleman here and getting him the contact to find out what the stats are of
Yeah,
what
John,
the
I don't know if
status
you have
is.
a card, maybe you could give him, or,
Yeah, I could just,
give a card? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get him, see what we can do about getting him some information on where we stand with the double poles in the city. And hopefully that'll be a lot of help, very helpful. And we'll be waiting for you to let us know about trying this again.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
And I apologize, Councilor Plant had been here, and I told him we would take this document earlier in the evening, and we took so many District F documents, I forgot about it, I apologize. Can I please get a motion to take document number 282-12 off the table and out of order?
So move.
Motion's made,
Second.
seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Document number 282-12 was with regard to the Deputy Police Chief's position. We had been discussing this at the end of last year. We were hoping for communication from the chief just to weigh in on that, and he did supply us with a letter. Unfortunately, I don't have that letter in my package.
It's not in the package.
But I do have it.
But the long and the short of it is, the chief did submit correspondence stating that he does not feel that at this time and in this budget situation that he needs to have that position, and he is supportive of the concept of removing it. So that being said, I was looking for a motion to send it to the council for a vote. And if I'm looking for a favorable recommendation, I would be looking for a motion for a favorable recommendation to send it up to the council for a vote. This would be a home rule petition too, because it's in our charter. It's a, no?
It's an ordinance.
It's an ordinance, okay, I'm sorry. This would not be a home rule petition, this is not in our charter.
Be removed here.
What?
I said we'll be removed here.
Yeah. I don't have the letter with me. I did have an opportunity to read it prior to the meeting. I know I distributed it to everyone. I hope you all had a chance to read it. But the long and the short of it is the letter was supportive of the concept.
I mean, one of the concerns I have, Madam Chair, I just wanted to hear from the chief himself, but obviously he doesn't choose to come before us and answer questions. Instead, he sends a written statement, which he doesn't tell me that he really believes, even though he sent it in writing. I would love for him to come before us so I can ask additional questions and he can probably answer my questions. Instead, he sent a correspondence, which leads me to believe he doesn't want to ask any other questions from us. So at this point, I'm not ready to vote unless the chief of police come before us for some additional questions on this position.
My one thought is, the removal of an ordinance is like the creation of an ordinance where we'd have to have a public hearing. So I would believe he would come to a public hearing to weigh in at that point. I know the last time we talked about this, which was probably 18 months ago, maybe more, he did appear both at the ordinance committee and at the full council level. And it wasn't like it was a two-sentence letter that said, I support this. It was a full, maybe, if it wasn't a full page, it was a page and a half. I don't have it in front of me, I apologize, but it was a substantial letter.
No, I read the letter. I wanted, on the vote that we took last time, I think we requested for him to come before the city council, before the ordinance committee, because this is the reason why we have subcommittees, because this is where all the work is done. At the subcommittee level, when it goes up to the full council, pretty much the committee can talk in favor or against it when it goes up to the full council. That's the reason why we have subcommittees. This is the reason why we invite, we even have one of the department heads here, because he probably has an item here. Says a lot about that department head that's currently here, advocating for his department. Obviously, this position here, been here 5 years. My first year, he was before us, and he was advocating to have 2 deputy chief. And I remember I took a vote to delete one of them, even though he wanted the other one. That was my first vote, my first year as a city councilor. He wanted 2, we eliminated 1, and he still wanted the other 2. All of a sudden, it sounds to me like it's more, and I understand this plus or minus, it sounds to me there's more of a political mood than it is as needed or not needed, because I can guarantee you, if his lieutenant that he really wants was in that position, we wouldn't even have this information before us. So those are questions that I would love to ask.
I don't think sending it up
I'm not in favor of sending it up.
restricts your ability to,
I'd like to see the chief to come before us.
you want to make a motion to withdraw it and send it up that way? I mean,
No, I like to leave it here. I want to see him here at this level, so we can talk. Like I say,
yeah,
there's
you're
only one of three of us.
entitled- Yeah, you're
That's
entitled
just
to
my
your
opinion.
opinion. I
Correct.
disagree with it. We'll see which way, how does Council Vasquez feel about this? My thought-
Myself, I thought it, I read the letter, and, I thank the chief for sending in the letter and sharing his opinion with us. But I do remember that the request that was made was for him to come before the ordinance committee. I had 3 questions specifically that I wanted to ask, and they were not addressed in the letter. And I think it will be a good opportunity for us to get a better understanding of, what the real role of this position is, and the letter is not addressed. So I think that inviting him over will be much better for us to make an informed decision whether or not,